welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Immigration. I'm really excited about this episode because I have with me my really good friend, attorney Stacey Pierre. I mean, just boss lady from Miami and Queens.
Brooklyn.
I said that deliberately. But she's going to tell us what she does and who she is. I'm so excited about this one. It's so different. So Stacey is a Jamaican name, by the way.
It is a Jamaican name, but I'm very much Haitian, guys.
Okay. Read it.
Stacey Pierre. Stacey, Sakap Fed, everyone. Here we are.
Okay.
I said the most American thing. But my name is Stacey Pierre. I am an attorney based out in South Florida. I am located downtown Miami. I practice business, trademark, IP law, which covers anything from trademarks, copyrights, and we also do entertainment law, civil litigation, and business disputes. So, yeah.
Nice. That's a lot. But, I mean, so talented. But the area that I wanted to dive into with Stacey is trademark, IP, and entertainment law. You know, because I feel like so many people, they have that need for it, especially immigrants, especially talented immigrants that they have a brand that they want to scale or they have a brand that they want to protect. And sometimes they don't even know that it needs some type of protection, right?
Right.
Because I remember when you told me the trademark, I was like, I don't know any trademarking attorney. And then you've been on me to trademark.
I have.
She's been on me to trademark my law firm and to trademark Gladiator and Soon. Well, actually, I probably shouldn't put that on.
Right. Let's not disclose too much information.
So I know I have to do it. Yeah. All right. So I mean, how did you start your firm?
So I originally am an entrepreneur. I still am an entrepreneur. So I understand the pitfalls of entrepreneurship. And I realized that there was an area, especially for not only the immigration community, the minority community, about the knowledge of trademark law, IP law, and really structuring your business, not only to start a business, but to scale it. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us stop at, I got an LLC and I'm done. Mm-hmm. So I realized that there was a community for me of entrepreneurs that needed my knowledge. And as I started to get more and more clientele and I realized the lack of knowledge of IP law, I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. This is my niche. And I've been really successful.
That I know. But before we dive into it, I was curious. So like, I know you said you realized that there was a gap for minorities and immigrants. And I mean, you cover both.
Yes.
And as a woman.
Yes.
Right. Did you find it challenging to really dive into the space as a Haitian American woman, Black, into a professional space that's dominated by men? I mean,
yes.
How has that experience been for you?
Men don't listen, especially to women. So I'll say that. So men are very, when it comes to their business, they're very possessive. They think that they have all the knowledge. So as a woman attorney coming in and saying, no, this is structured wrong, or no, you need to do this, sometimes it could come off like, I got it. I have a lot of clients that'll say, I already did a trademark, because the confusion between having an LLC and a trademark, that knowledge is just not there. Mm-hmm. People assume that once you set up your entity structure, that your business is protected. Yeah. And there's a huge gap and a difference between the two. So an LLC basically allows you to create an entity in a particular state. And that just gives you the right to operate the business in that state. Yeah. Whereas a trademark, once you get it federally registered, we're not talking about state trademarks, and I'll get into that. That's a little different. The federal trademark now protects you, and you own that brand throughout the United States. And if anyone...
Hold on, but what is a trademark?
Okay, so a trademark can be a name, a slogan, a logo. So you think about trademarks, it's everywhere. Yeah. Baskin-Robbins, trademark. Yeah. Target, trademark. Yeah. Hertz, I just came through your building, trademark. Yeah. Every company has a trademark because that's their name, their logo, and they want to protect that from anyone else using it. So you think about it, when you think of McDonald's, you know there's no other McDonald's. And that's building that brand identity by trademarking it, protecting it. Anything from color schemes, Tiffany & Co., Christian Louboutin is red. You think about branding and you think about taking it to the next level, you have to think about trademarking your brand.
But like, why is it so important? Like, what is the risk involved if I create this logo, I start my business? I mean, it's fine. I mean, what? Okay. Why do I need a trademark?
All right, so let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Do you want another Sekou Law Group?
No, only by me.
Okay, so how do we make sure no one else has that? So you are located in Florida. I know you have the different offices. You at Jamaica, New York. You all over. Congratulations. Appreciate you. But I want to make sure you're protected throughout the United States. I want to make sure no one else has your brand. So what I can do now is I'm going to make sure that you get a trademark. You're going to take that name, Sekou Law Group, and we're going to file a federal registration for you. Federal trademark. And we're going to go through the process until it gets registered. Okay. Once it's registered, if someone else tries to create Sekou Law Group, we're going to send them a cease and desist, and no one else can coexist with you. Even if the name is Sekou Law, Sekou Legal, that's too closely related. Unlike the state. So let's say you do a LLC.
Yeah.
Say Sekou Law Group, right? And then I can go make another LLC, which is Sekou LLC, Sekou Law LLC. The state will allow that, but the USPTO won't, because they're going to say what is called a likelihood of confusion, and anything so closely similar will be denied.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, so I'm throwing this out of left field.
Okay.
In terms of who can file a trademark, do you have to be a U.S. citizen or a U.S. permanent resident?
So you would have to be at least having established a business in the U.S.
An LLC.
An LLC. So you don't have to be an individual U.S. citizen, but you do have to have some type of U.S.-based business. So principal place of business. They don't allow, I know a lot of immigrants like to use mailing addresses that's connected to U.S. Postal Services. They would need for you to establish your presence in the U.S. So that's either whether it's a permanent U.S. address or a permanent office space within the U.S. And then you can establish that you are running a business, because there's a lot of people from different countries taking over the U.S. right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're bringing good business.
They're bringing really good business. I'm from Miami. The whole real estate is owned by immigrants. So, yeah.
Okay. But so essentially you're saying you don't have to have a social security number, because, you know, what I tell my clientele is you can start a business in the U.S. without having a status, because the business has a separate identity from the individual.
Correct.
But it still needs protection.
Yes. And you want to keep it separate. So I recommend to all of my clients to have your LLC own it. Create your LLC. I know another thing is when they deep dive into having an EIN, they don't want to use their social, things like that. So it's different ways and layers of protection where you're completely removing yourself as an individual and having the LLC completely own your business.
Well, now what's like the benefits of that? If somebody came here and started their business, I mean, what is the benefit of just starting a business but not registering it and just doing a sole proprietor type of business?
The benefits? Okay. So there's not much benefits of having a sole proprietorship. Sometimes I tell people, if you're starting off, the only time to have a sole proprietorship is if you're considering it as a hobby, something that you're just starting and you want to see if it works for you. But once you start establishing that this is going to be a successful business, or that you're going to start generating a certain amount of revenue, you want to separate that, because you don't want your business attached to you in any personal way, because then they can come after you, come after your home, come after you
like a lawsuit, right?
Through a lawsuit and things like that. But when you keep your business and personal separate, then they can't attach you to your personal. So that's another reason why we stress when people create their trademark applications that even on your trademark application, you don't even want to own it as an individual.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you also do IP law.
Yeah.
What's the distinction between IP and trademark?
So IP law is the actual broad scope, and underneath IP law, there's several compartments. So there's trademark, copyright, and patent. Okay. I don't do patent, but I do trademarks and copyright.
Okay. And what's copywriting?
Copywriting is a literal work. So think about books, magazines. Everyone is going into the ebooks. So think about if you're creating an ebook, anything that you're publishing on your website is copywritten. That's your work of art.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what's your typical clientele right now? So, like, I know you represent athletes as well.
Yeah.
What type of services do they tend to seek you up for? Is it more trademark or is it more copyright?
More trademarks. So a lot of athletes, whether NFL, NBA, right now, no matter what you do, you want to establish a business. Some it's for tax purposes, like nonprofits, they give back, charities, whatever it is, and you create a business, you want to make sure it's protected because your likeness, you're a celebrity, you announce anything, someone is going to want to steal it. So back in the days, people used to steal domains. Remember, people will grab a domain, you'll say a business name, and they'll purchase the domain and they'll try to resell it to you. Now, people are doing that with trademarks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so people are hearing catchphrases, buying the domain, trademarking it first, and making people go through the process of like fighting to get it canceled and spending so much money to lose it. And that's a whole like business in itself. It's called trademark squatting.
Okay.
So
I mean, I've had a client before who he came here. He came not Jamaica. He came here from the Caribbean. He started this whole, Jamaicans wear like a lot of hats. No pun intended. So he started a hat company.
Yeah.
Right, and it started to take off, but he didn't trademark it, and then somehow somebody just took the brand.
Yeah.
How does that even work? I mean, somebody put in all the work to come up with the design, right, to make the investment, and then somebody can just take that brand that you put the time and created it and just use it as their own?
So what happens with that is there's ways to fight it, but you would need to get a sophisticated attorney, SPP law firm, to represent you. But there's ways to go around that. Yeah. So people think first to file is first and right, and that's not always right. What happens is, so your friend, let's say the other person, we're going to call him Tom. Tom files his hat company before him, and Tom files and says he's been using it since 2024. Your friend has been using this since 2020. What his next step to do is he's going to file his trademark application, ensure that when the other Tom's trademark goes into publication, he's going to oppose it. And he's going to say, well, I'm opposing it because I have first use. And he's going to show and establish that he's been using this way before Tom even thought about the company. So it's so important to keep track of when you started your business, when you started discussing it, getting your domains. Before people spend money on trademarking, because I know it is an expense, I always tell my clients, purchase your domain, purchase every social media handle. I don't care if you don't want to use Facebook, Twitter, purchase it, because you want to keep a clean record of your business. And if you are doing that search and you realize, like, let's say, I'm going to go get, Tom's Hat Company, but there's so many different Tom Hat companies out there. You don't want to get a brand name with a whole bunch of underscores, dots, period, spaces, because it's not clear. You don't go on Louis Vuitton and have to put a whole bunch of underscores.
Got it.
So branding is so important with consistency across all social media platforms as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for me, I represent athletes as well. And now the big thing is merchandise, right? Like, especially for international athletes who they come here in the EB1, the O's and the P's, those type of visas, as you know. But they want to have a different type of income, so they start a merch line.
Yeah.
What's your advice for somebody who wants to start a merchandise line?
So with merch, just the whole entire process, you want to make sure that you understand that now with people putting their brand on any t-shirt, you want to make it distinguishable. You want to make sure that your tags inside says your brand name. You want to show that brand identity. You don't just want to go to your local print shop and say, put my name on this. You want to create a brand. And once you do that, then you want to make sure you trademark it. You want to do that early. So think about Rihanna, think about Beyonce. Before they announce, they always trademark the process first. So they go and they get a notice of allowance. So it allows them to do everything even before they launch. So for a client like yours, who's a celebrity, who has, whether athlete, celebrity, and they have a huge following and fan base that's prepared to purchase, before you even announce it, go ahead and start the trademark process. Get it protected. So that way, when you do launch, you don't have anyone, trying to steal it. Because even your fans could be your biggest downfall.
I know, right?
They'll take it from you. Yeah. So you definitely want to do that first.
Okay. So here's a question for you. So I just thought about this. So I have my athlete. They are represented by, I'll use the name Reebok.
Okay.
But they wanted to start their own separate line aside from Reebok.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you think it's in the athlete's best interest to do the merch through Reebok or separate it and have their own?
Separate and have your own. So you could do a collaboration with Reebok, but you want to start on to have your own everything. Yeah. I think athletes should know to have your own attorney because remember, everyone is in the best interest of themselves, whether it's the organization, NFL, the NBA, or these third parties that you're going to do partnerships with. They want to represent their brand. They really don't care about the athlete to that extent. They just want to use their likeness. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. And what that looks like is making sure you already have your name trademarked. A prime example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Black Ink Crew. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Viacom stole Black Ink Crew, trademarked it first. Wow. He only did it under clothing, and he never did it under entertainment services. He never did it under tattooing. So they stole his trademark. Wow. And, well, I don't want to say stole, but they protected it first. Okay. And now they have the rights. So he can use it, but they own it. And he talks about how much he lost so much because when you do understand trademarks, you understand how much value you have. And another example would be like Apple. You watch a movie. What do they do in front of an Apple computer if you don't license it out? They put a peer, they'll put a can of soda, or they'll block it out. Because nobody wants to pay Apple those crazy fees. So there's money in trademarking once you understand it.
Yeah, and I think people, on that one thing I love to preach, especially for entrepreneurs and my immigrant entrepreneurs, is always ownership. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So ownership doesn't just mean you making the purchase, but you have to start thinking. Don't think 1 year, okay, I'm making $50K from my name. Think like 5-10 years that, okay, my brand, my business, my service, my product can be worth $1 million, $2 million, $3 million down the road, but it starts with protecting it first.
Absolutely. So you protect it first, and then you start it, and then you scale it. And I think our community never gets to that step.
Of the scaling?
Of the scaling. Yeah. We never get to systems, processes. I meet so many entrepreneurs, and they wear so many different hats. Yeah. A Jamaican.
Exactly.
So they wear so many hats, and they want to be the content creator. Yeah. They want to be payroll. They want to be HR. They want to be the face of the brand. And that's where they fall short because eventually you have to scale. You have to hire. You have to learn processes.
Scaling? I feel like that term is used so loosely nowadays. Yeah. But people don't really understand what scaling is.
Scaling is creating a process where you can actually step away. So when you scale your company, you're scaling, strategically, if you want to. You want to make sure that everything is done effectively, and then it's minimizing your time. So what that means is having a CRM system, which is like a client relations management system that can keep track of everything. Us attorneys, we use Clio and things like that. So we have a system where we can find our track records of our cases or things like that. Yeah. You want to have a payroll system. You got to hire that accountant. You need that CPA.
Pay the money, man.
You can't do the money. But not only during tax time, tax planning is more important. Yeah. So when you see everybody telling you about the free G-Wagon and the free this, nothing is free. Nothing. You have to plan it accordingly. You have to be able to afford it too. Yeah. So I think learning it, because like you said, everything is being so loosely. Social media has so much clickbait content that we got to just learn and really understand the steps. Yeah. So there's a lot of steps. Hiring the right team. Yeah. You have to hire. I know we like to keep the money. We want 100K, and everybody want to see the big numbers in their bank accounts. But having the right team will have you scaling your business and learning that the real money is in freedom, time freedom at that.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. What do you think are some of the biggest pitfalls that you see immigrant entrepreneurs have?
transitioning from running their business in their country and the way the U.S. is. Because,
that's a good one.
Back home, and let me speak, because I've been to Jamaica more than I've been to Haiti. So when I say back home, I might be talking about Jamaica. But you see the hustle, you see the grind, you see them creating businesses and their community is supporting them. And they don't have to deal with marketing, which is something huge in the U.S. They don't really have to deal with too many systems. They have their local person that can do their paperwork, manage their cash flow. They're smart. I don't want to say they're smarter than us, but they just have their system. Right? I'm just saying the Caribbean period, but they have their own way, and they come here and they learn everything new. And one of the things is, even with us here, we only know LLCs. So you learn, you get here, you start an LLC, and that's all you know. And you just start selling something, whether you're selling on Amazon or you're selling anywhere, you're just selling a product. And I think they have to learn the importance of building that business from ground up, different tax structures. So LLC, we've been throwing that around the whole interview, but there's so many different entity types. You have S Corp, C Corps, you have corporations, nonprofits. So learning which one works best for you.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. And I mean, in terms of LLCs, is there any type of tax difference from like an LLC versus an S Corp versus a C Corp? I think people always think it's all the same, but it's really not.
Yeah. So people think an S Corp is actually a type of business structure, but it's a tax entity.
A tax classification.
Yes. So the difference is a C Corp, you're taxed as an individual, and then you're again taxed as a business. And then an S Corp is passed through, so you're only taxed once. So most of the time you'll see people say you need to do an S Corp is to avoid that double taxation. Yeah. And you'll save a lot more money. So people got to understand, okay, I have an LLC, but I can be structured tax-wise as an S Corp. So that's possible.
Got it. And like, these are some of the issues that I tend to see when I do start like a case for an L1 visa. So like the L1 visa, somebody has a company that's outside of the U.S. That they've had for 2 years and they've had a certain amount of employees. They're allowed to open up a subsidiary company in the U.S., right? And then they're able to get a green card if they transfer themselves as an executive employee. But once we start the filing, right, the biggest thing I always see is, one, they don't understand the tax classifications. And then two, the accounting is a mess. Because they have them friend on the street, that's
their cousin
doing it. And then, I mean, a lot of the cases like L1 and then even like the EB5s or the E2 investment visas, it's always the accounting and the taxes that tends to slow the process down on our side. And it's just people either they don't see the importance of hiring a legit professional, or they just don't think it's important. They think, no, I have this amount of money in the bank, so I should be fine. No, the federal government wants to see how that money got there.
Yep.
What did he use as expenses, and what's actual revenue? And no commingling. There has to be like a business account separate from this account. So I think it's that gap that, as you said, it needs to be closed in terms of knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that people are just so comfortable because most small businesses, their expenses could be maybe 15 to 20 different things.
Yeah.
So they keep track of it like, okay, let's say my systems, let's say G Suite, their email costs $12 a month. We got 4, they do the math, that's it. They can say, okay, my rent for my office or my location, that's it. My light bill, they do the minimal. They don't think about the day-to-days. And so they base their expenses off of that. And that's how a lot of companies also go bankrupt or they lose profit because they think they make it more than they have. And they're not managing their expenses correctly. And that stops them from scaling their business because they think this is it. This is where I'm at. This is my base. I can't afford to buy more product. I can't afford to provide more services because, again, you're a one-man band. You're the only person there. Yeah. You're not scaling. You're not getting the employees. You're not getting the merchandise. because you're not learning the numbers. And sometimes it's not for you to learn. It's just for you to hire. So definitely get a CPA.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, being honest.
So, all right. So in terms of like a woman starting a business in this day and age, in this generation, I mean, I don't understand the challenges that you would face. Tell me some of the challenges that you see, like some of your female clients or any female entrepreneur that they encounter, and then how they can avoid some of these pitfalls.
Okay. So I think that right now in this day and age, women, we're running it. I think that society is making sure that we know it. They're acknowledging us. But I also think that women oftentimes wear a lot of hats. And I think we need to take a step back and practice self-care. Take care of yourself. Make sure that your mental space is there. Make sure that you're okay. Just this past weekend, I got awarded, and before we all, thank you.
Congrats again.
And before they gave us our awards, they had a whole speech about us taking care of ourselves. And I had to sit back and say, wow. Because a lot of times us women, we just keep going. We keep going. We feel like we have so much to prove because the door is now being open for us. And we want to show up and show out every chance we get. But sometimes being still is enough. You can still be still and pause and reflect, but feel like you're moving forward. I think we're racing for something that we don't need to do anymore. Like the standard has been set for us. We're doing our thing. And I think another tip that I'll just give women is, because we are women and, people are learning that we're now bosses, you have to remain professional at all times. I know it seems like the standard is a little different for men. You guys can, flex and do everything. But us women, we have to always be a little more stern, because the moment we get comfortable, the moment we relax sometimes, people don't take us serious. So we're always feeling like we have to come dominant. And I think it's not always a bad thing, because that's where people respect you in your business. People respect you as a boss, as an attorney. For me, when I have clients, no matter who they are, male, female, because I remain professional, they know, let's stick to business.
So I mean, I'll be a guy and say that, do you think some women tend to, and this may be sensitive, no pun intended, don't know how to separate the emotion from business? Is that something that you see, or is that just a man talking?
That's just a man talking. We are emotional creatures, but I think women are running businesses.
Yeah.
I don't want to say better than men. I don't want the whole controversy under the comments, but I think we are really just taking control of the things that we want to do and running it the way we want to. Yeah. And I think women are just really successful in this day and age, and we're coming together. We're collaborating more. Women, you know how many women empowerment brunches, events, and like social engagement you can go to and meet women that are cheering for you, supporting you. We really have a community. Yeah. So I think this is our era. I think we need to seize the moment.
So like social media is a lie then?
Why? Why?
Most of the posts that I see, the women are like, I mean, we just need to stick together and stop bashing each other and stop hating on each other. And
that's true. Some of the women empowerment brunches are run by mean girls. I'll be honest. Yeah. I will be honest. But you know what? You find your community. And it's just like anything. You go to school, everyone is not going to be your friend, but you're going to find your group. You're going to find your niche. You're going to find your community. As long as you stay genuine and you stay true to what you want to do. And I learned a long time ago, stop following trends. Do what works for you. Because if we hop on every trend, you're not only losing yourself, but you're not authentic to your purpose. And I think just growing a business, you're going to make money if you follow your purpose. Your cards are going to come to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
And before we tune out, so entertainment law.
Yeah.
How did you get into that space?
Knowing the right people, being honest.
And what is entertainment law about?
So people think entertainment law is about going to the events, going to the concerts or basketball, the fun stuff. But the entertainment law is really about the paperwork. It's the contracts. it's the deals, it's reading a lot of paperwork to make sure that your client is protected. It's making sure they have their trademark. It's making sure they're not signing the worst deal or getting screwed over, whether it's something so simple as a quick, let's just say speaking engagement. You'll see so I always tell people, if you cannot control the price, because people always think the bottom line, big number, the more important part is controlling the terms, because you can get a contract for $10,000 and think that it's the best deal. But if the terms are going to be against what you believe in or are going to cause havoc, then that's not the deal for you. The number really doesn't matter.
It's the terms.
It's the terms, because I need to know what my client is going to be obligated to do, what their duties are for them to get that money. Okay. And that's where we have to pay attention.
So, all right. So if I came to you and I said, hey, Stacey, I have this entertainer that just came from Jamaica. He's doing well. Crazy views on YouTube and Vivo. Comes here in the O1 or the P1 visa. And I said, hey, let's talk to him for 5 minutes. So what would be the main things that you want to say to that entertainer in terms of protecting himself, protecting his music, hashing out a disagreement between a booking agent versus a promoter?
Yeah.
Like,
so I will walk through the steps. First, I'm going to ask you if you have an attorney. I don't like to overstep. And then I'll talk about management. Who do you have as a manager? Because sometimes these entertainers are so young, so vulnerable, or sometimes they just don't know. They pass on all of their information to someone else. So you want to make sure you reach out to whoever that point of contact is. So who is managing everything? If it's just them as an individual, okay, let's take a step back. Let's discuss this. So we're going to get on a consultation. I'm going to talk to you about what is your system. I want to know what you've been doing thus far, and then I'm going to help you correct it. So it's like an audit of how they've been running their business. So I'm discussing anything from, do you have an established entity?
Exactly.
How are you collecting your money? Do you have a system, payroll system, a payment system? Because some people are like, no, I just got cash. Somebody Zelled me. Somebody Zelled this account. I got them. And there's like 20 different payment methods. So how do you keep track of that? If you have a huge fan base, the next thing, we got to protect your brand name.
Yeah.
So what do they know you for? Like everyone's name, like, you're Sekou Clarke. Yeah. But, I don't want to announce your nickname or your new name that's coming up that he's going to trademark. But you might have a pseudonym, and I want to protect that pseudonym. Sometimes I have to establish if the pseudonym, which is a nickname, needs to be protected as well as your government name. And that happens for some people. Like Drake is Drake, but Audrey Brand might need to also be protected. Beyonce Knowles, Beehive, all of these things have to be protected depending on who you are. So we break it all down, and I audit the entire brand. And from then, I'm going to let you know what you need to do, from trademarks, contracts, agreements, CRM systems, payroll systems, referring you out to third parties, because I don't do accounting. So I'll refer you out to an accountant, a CPA. Sometimes your business needs to be audited in the sense of the evaluation, revenue. Are we getting investors, mergers, acquisitions? It could get deep.
Yeah.
It can get deep.
All right, well, last thing. So, if you were to give advice to that young girl who wants to be a boss lady like you, get out there and take on the world, like, what would your advice be? Knowing your background, Haiti, Miami, Brooklyn, Jamaica, what would your advice be?
It would be, don't give up. My journey was not easy. So when people call me boss lady or boss, it's like, whew, I mean it. And it feels like that every single time, because I was not a one and done passing the bar. Mm-hmm. I struggled in law school. I was so smart in undergrad, top of my class, went to law school, and I was like, it is so hard. So I tell people, keep going, keep faith, believe in yourself. What you want is attainable. You just have to keep going, being consistent. And I would just tell anyone in my shoes or going through that journey, find someone that you really trust that can mentor you. Mentorship is so important.
Yeah, 100%.
Finding someone that relates to your journey, because the friends you grew up with might not understand. And when I was failing, I was like, okay, I'm not even telling my friends anymore. They don't get it.
Yeah,
They don't even get the studying process.
Yeah.
So find someone, if you're lucky enough, to help you through that process. And just, if you don't, SVP Law Firm has that community, okay? I'm sorry. I created that community for women like me to understand that there is someone out there rooting for you to keep going and want to see you win. So being honest, like, I have a bar prep scholarship out of my own pocket every year. I try to award people because I know how it is to be from immigrant family, first generation, underprivileged, coming from the tough neighborhoods and still wanting to make it. So there are people that's going to root for you and support you. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love Stacey because she shares the same values as me, which is closing the gap, right? Closing the gap. And raising the bar, but also creating access. Yeah. Right. So people know the right thing to do, when to do it, and be the best version of themselves. So, love the talk. Big up yourself, Stacey. It's been long overdue, but we made it happen.
We did. This is actually my first speaking engagement.
I know. This is an exclusive.
This is an exclusive. He got me to sit on this couch as an exclusive. Yeah.
And where can people find you?
They can find me on social media, SVP Law Firm. Our website, everything is clear and concise, www.svplawfirm. TikTok, Facebook, everything is consistent. We're on Google. Always easy to find and easy to reach because we are really a community ready to help you guys. So, yeah.
All right. That's a wrap.